Hi dear learners, now on to the sixth module, which is on theoretical foundations and counseling approaches in the lens of Ivey's developmental therapy. Alan Ivey developed developmental counseling and therapy, which is abbreviated as DCT, as a guide for counselors in assessing and designing interventions towards better counseling outcomes. The main goal of this approach is to understand and help people. The conviction behind this therapy is that the counselor's understanding of the client's developmental stages should influence the counselor's choice of intervention. This conviction motivated the application of this concept, which then led to the formulation of a consistent developmental approach. DCT is a holistic, complex, integrative therapy of developmental theory and counseling. It is integrative in the sense that it assimilates many theories and counseling approaches into a systematic approach. This therapy is based on the ancient philosophy of Plato and as well as Piaget's theory, and it also has strong empirical neuroscience background. It has many similarities with other therapies, and at the same time, there are significant diversions from them. By applying developmental theory directly, Ivey has developed a systematic model that includes understanding the base level of cognitive development, assessing and selecting intervention to address specific needs. He emphasizes the processes in development rather than the outcomes at different life stages. Developmental counseling and therapy is an interpersonal process involving client-counselor relationship. The process is concerned with the information shared by both the client and the counselor and the emotional responses during the shared experiences. This module will be explained to you in the form of 3 videos. The first video is in the form of theoretical framework of DCT as proposed by Ivey, and the second video will be on the developmental styles of DCT and assertions made by Ivey towards counseling. And the third video will explain you the process of DCT. At the end of this video, you will be able to develop knowledge in the cognitive developmental functioning and comprehend the belief and theoretical framework of DCT. In the original theoretical work of DCT, Ivey mentions themes of levels of consciousness, which is similar to the theme in philosophy and psychology. It is that a child seeing the world through senses and then going on to develop the cognitive structure. DCT lay claim to being the theory of therapy on 2 major counts. The first one is that the theory is an augmentation and extension of other theories such as Piaget, Perry, Erikson and Kohlberg. And on the second aspect, it tries to explain the theory experiences and appears to come up with a framework within which the therapist can make plans leading to an expected outcome. DCT adapts the behavioral terms and operational definitions of these notions to provide an understanding of individual development and the process of therapeutic change. Ivey's model stretches the traditional view of development as a linear process to a dialectic, circular, holistic orientation of development. The theory proposes human development as a ceaseless, unpredictable movement throughout the levels of cognitive developmental relating to Piagetian sensory motor, pre-operational, concrete operational, and formal operational thinking. Let us look into the belief of the DCT model. The belief on which the DCT model is based is that various change strategies offer varying measures of purpose at different cognitive developmental levels. This dialectical model gives more importance to the exchange of information that occurs within the therapy and provides constant feedback. As for its view, therapy is a recursive process supporting a sequence of change through cognitive development levels. The therapy therefore focuses on assessing the continuous changing needs of the client throughout its process or during a single session, selecting appropriate change strategies and theoretical orientations to address these needs. The third is the concept of co-constructiveness is one of the basic components in this model, according to which the counselor and the client reciprocate continuously, indicating the meaning that the client is the agent of own change. The fourth belief is that the model being acknowledged with that issue brought by the client and the client system to the therapy, it can be understood as natural and rational after effects of their own developmental and contextual histories. Ivey finds the revelation of intelligence that goes beyond to infuse all other cognitive development as coincident with the dialectical awareness of entanglement of the self. Ivey explains the development in a spiral fashion as ascending from the world sensing and perceiving, which is called as the sensory motor stage, to the world of recognizing thinking, concrete thinking and behaviors, which is called as the concrete stage. Then they pass on to the intellectual world of abstract thinking, which is called as the formal thought. And later they arrive at an insight into the complexities and circularities of the world interactions, which is referred to as dialectical. The model proposes that the generalizations of important characteristics of these levels can enable the individual to master the challenges of developmental tasks. The concepts of assimilation and accommodation that are mentioned in Piaget's theory previously, that has been seen in the module, is also included in this model. The processes of an individual influenced by the environment and the environment influenced by the individual are the dialectics involved in the relationship. Piaget's solution for the problem of equilibration ranged from an overemphasis on assimilation and accommodation to development of new schema. In the DCT view, an individual's chronological age isn't sufficient to understand which cognitive developmental level is at operation at the given point of time. This is because the individual continuously passes through the same cognitive level every time. And there are negotiations and renegotiations of equilibration throughout life's challenges and tasks. And at the same time, they engage in merging of several different levels and very likely present numerous formally uncompleted tasks. Thus, it becomes necessary for the clinician or the psychologist to initially help the client to move to lower cognitive level and to re-experience the world through that cognitive level so that they are facilitated for more flexible movement between stages. Right from the beginning of the interactions, it may be either verbal or non-verbal, the counselor can evaluate the existing cognitive developmental level of the client. The narration of the presenting problem suggests that the client's way of perceiving these concerns. Key terms and phrases used by the client depicts various levels. For example, the sensory motor individual will use terms related to actions and senses. Whereas an individual who is in the concrete stage will present the cognition of a problem filled with distortions, deletions, and overgeneralizations. A client in the formal operational stage may be more speculative of a problem as a stranger, but frequently the thought process may involve a pre-operational view of the problem or late sensory motor errors may happen. Finally, as in the progressed dialectical thinking stage, it may emerge in the therapeutic process, yet the individual still may have cognitive errors, including oversimplification, intellectualization, and depersonalization. Ivey asserts that the cognitive style or equilibration style of an individual may be a strength or a vulnerability in the coping ability, and that is the focus of the counselor's work. Developmentally appropriate therapy focuses on guiding the client to level from where the needed cognitive skills can be accessed into a flexible and task-appropriate manner. In response to the counselor's question, the client may move quickly between the cognitive developmental levels. Initially, the counselor has to design the therapeutic interventions to the client's level, and ask questions at higher or lower levels may irritate the client and at times lead to discontinuation of the therapy on the side of the client. Eventually, therapeutic movement can take either of two directions. The first one is called as the horizontal movement, which is otherwise referred to as stage enhancement, or the other direction is the vertical movement, which is called as the stage progression. So the goal of the therapy need not be about moving the client to higher levels of cognitive functioning. Horizontal décollage, as mentioned by Piaget, is essential in the therapeutic process. Horizontal décollage means that although a client has attained a general idea of the concept, he or she can't translate the learned concept into similar tasks until they are older. Hence, before moving to an effective level of cognitive abstraction, earlier uncompleted tasks need to be achieved completely. The main goal is achieving a more flexible level of perceiving the environment that will enable the individual to benefit clarity over reality. Hope the video would have clearly illustrated the DCT model with its theoretical inputs. Meet you in the next video. Bye.